The city with no sun. There is an alley where it rains indoors. Not from a leak, from the pipes. Thousands of them bolted to the ceiling in layers, dripping day and night onto the heads of everyone who walks underneath. The people who live here carry umbrellas inside the building. The floor is wet in 1975, and it is wet in 1985, and it will still be wet the day the bulldozers arrive. 3 feet above your head, a bare bulb is burning. It has to be. It is 2 in the afternoon. Down here, the sun stopped reaching the ground about 40 years ago, when the buildings grew together overhead and sealed the sky shut. Now look up. 14 stories of concrete welded to each other by pipes and wires and stairwells that pass through somebody's living room. 350 buildings that have become one building. No architect ever drew it. No government ever approved it. And inside it, in an area the size of 4 football pitches, live 33,000 people. This is the most crowded place that has ever existed on Earth. If the whole planet were packed this tightly, every human alive would fit inside the state of Rhode Island. It has no police, no building inspectors, no official address. And for nearly 100 years, it belongs to nobody at all. This is Kowloon Walled City, and this is how a legal accident became a city with no sun. It starts, like most strange things, with a treaty. In 1898, Britain leases the land around Hong Kong from China for 99 years. The document is long and the negotiations are tired, and one small detail gets written into it. There is a Chinese fort here, a walled garrison, a few hundred people, 6 acres of ground. China keeps it. One tiny square of Chinese soil, sitting inside British Hong Kong, surrounded on all sides. Nobody expects this to matter. For 50 years, it doesn't. Then the Japanese occupy Hong Kong in the Second World War and tear the walls down for building material. And when the war ends, the fort is gone, but the loophole is still there. Because now Britain says the walled city is China's problem. China says it is Britain's problem. And China has just had a revolution, and refugees are pouring south by the hundreds of thousands. They arrive in a Hong Kong that has nowhere to put them, except for one place that nobody is willing to claim. So they build. There is no permission to ask for, because there is nobody to ask. The first structures are shacks, then 2 stories, then 4. Then people discover the only direction left. Every family that arrives builds on top of the family that arrived before them. Corridors are roofed over and become rooms. Air shafts are filled in and become bedrooms. Staircases are added wherever they fit, which means they often lead into somebody's kitchen. The city grows upward like coral, one small addition at a time, by thousands of hands, with no plan whatsoever. And then it stops growing sharply at 14 stories. Not because of a law, because of the airport. Kai Tak runway is a few hundred meters away, and the planes come in so low over the rooftops that passengers can see what people are having for dinner. So the buildings stop exactly where the flight path begins. The only rule this city ever obeys is written by aeroplanes. Now imagine being born in there. Your address is not a street number, because there are no street names. It is a description. 3rd door past the noodle factory, up the stairs where the light is broken. The postmen who deliver here have to memorize the entire interior, because no map of it exists. The alleys are 2 feet wide in places. You turn sideways to pass a stranger. The building above you drips constantly, so you learn which corridors to run through and which to walk. Electricity is stolen from the city grid by a spiderweb of illegal cables, and the wires hang low enough to touch. Fire is the thing everyone is afraid of, and everyone knows it. 8 standpipes serve 33,000 people. And yet, and this is the part that surprises people, the city works. There is no landlord, so nobody is evicted. Rent is a fraction of Hong Kong's, which means a family can actually live on a factory wage. Inside these walls there are noodle factories, fishball workshops, printing presses, plastic molders. There are more than 150 dentists, and almost none of them are licensed, which is exactly why people come. A Hong Kong dentist charges what a Hong Kong dentist charges. A Kowloon dentist charges what you can pay. Quick thing before we go up to the roof. If you like places that sound made up but aren't, subscribe. There is a new one of these every week, and most people have never heard a single one. Now, the roof. Because here is what nobody expects about the darkest place on Earth. Its residents built a sky. The rooftops of 350 buildings are joined into one uneven continent of concrete, and that is where the city goes to breathe. Children do their homework up there because it is the only place with daylight. Old men keep birds in bamboo cages and bring them up for air. People hang laundry, drink tea, watch the planes come in so close they can read the airline name on the tail. It is the only park this city has, and it is 140 feet above the street. For a while, the walled city really is what the newspapers call it, a lawless place. Triads run the gambling dens, the opium parlors, the brothels through the 50s and 60s because there is no police force to stop them. Hong Kong police will only enter in groups, and rarely. But that changes, and it changes from the inside. Through the 70s, a huge police operation pushes the triads out, and something quieter takes their place. Residents form their own committees. They organize rubbish collection, water access, fire watches. Churches and charities open schools and clinics in rooms the size of a garage. By the 80s, the crime rate inside the walled city is lower than in parts of Hong Kong that have actual policing. The lawless city has quietly governed itself, and then the outside world remembers it exists. In 1987, with the handover of Hong Kong approaching, Britain and China finally agree on the one thing they have never agreed on. The walled city has to go. They offer compensation. Most residents take it. Some fight for years. Because whatever the newspapers say about this place, 33,000 people call it home. And a home is not improved by being called a slum by people who have never been inside. The evictions take 5 years. Photographers and researchers move in during the final months, and what they produce is extraordinary. They map, room by room, a building nobody ever designed. Their cross-section drawing of the walled city is still one of the most astonishing images in architecture. In 1993, the demolition begins. It takes a year to take down what took 40 years to grow. Today, there is a park where it stood. Quiet paths, old trees, a few of the original stones from the very first Chinese fort, the one from 1898 that started all of this. Standing there, you would never guess, but architects still study it, because the walled city accidentally solved problems that planned cities are still failing at. Everything anyone needed was within a 5-minute walk. Neighbors knew each other because the corridors forced them to. Space was used with an efficiency no designer has ever matched on purpose. It was dark, it was dangerous, it was almost certainly unhealthy. And 33,000 people built it themselves, with no architect, no permission, and no country willing to admit it existed. The most crowded place in human history was not planned by anyone. It was simply what happened when people were given nothing and left completely alone. If you want more stories like this one, subscribe. There is a new one every week. And the next place is even stranger than this.